Who's Jerry Jones, who hasn't been to a conference championship game in 30 years, and he's going to now tell these guys, and by the way, they have a relationship with the station. They're on the station. He doesn't own the station. And he's going to sit there, I'll get you thrown out of or off the air. Who the hell is Jerry Jones? And then he knocks the radio. I'm not going to answer his questions on radio like it's some sort of, has he heard of Marconi? Yeah. Like it's not an important medium for him to have to answer a tough question to. That is very important. And this is a guy who has done absolutely nothing in go have a cocktail, Jerry, is what I would tell him. Go have a cocktail, win some football games, and have a conversation with him. He was completely out of line.
Well, doggy, it's the definition of trying to punch down on somebody, but to that I would say a hit dog will holler. The only reason that Jerry Jones is taking that tact is because he's being defensive about a team that he thought had championship aspirations based on the talent that he put together. They're embarrassing themselves on the football field. So and Jerry Jones realizes the state of affairs.
Earlier we talked about the Jets. They're reaching. There's a bit of a circus going on in New York. Stephen A. says that's how we like it here in New York. So the question now is, who's in more of disarray? Would it be the Cowboys and this mess we just heard from Jerry Jones? Or is it the Jets, who, quite frankly, they lose a game on Sunday, they're at the bottom of their division?
I'm going to say the Jets only because their quarterback situation right now is way up in the air. They don't have a replacement. Rodgers is 41 years of age. Who knows what he's going to decide to do after this year? If you saw Rodgers after he got beat up on the sidelines on Monday night, he looked awfully confused. And now almost like Rodgers said, now I know what they've been talking about with the Jets. It's almost like Rodgers was sitting there saying, now I know what everybody says about the Jets. There's a dark cloud over the Jet organization. And Prescott is at least signed. He's a good quarterback. He's there for the period of time. They have been in the playoffs a lot. Woody Johnson, I don't trust under any circumstances. And because of the quarterback disarray and who knows how long Rodgers has with the team, I'm going to say the Jets are more of a disoriented franchise right now in 2024.
Well, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. First of all, at least I can say the Jets have been competitive. There's only one loss that they have this season where it wasn't a one-possession game. The last 3 losses that they had were by a combined 10 points. So at least the Jets are fighting back. The Dallas Cowboys, in their last 4 home games, have trailed by 20-plus points in each of those games. You got the Detroit Lions up 30 points running trick plays to offensive linemen. They're running flea flicker touchdowns to tight end Sam Laporta on Jerry Jones' birthday. It was an absolute embarrassment to see what the state of affairs is with the Dallas Cowboys, and for the general manager / owner / mouthpiece / face of the franchise in Jerry Jones to have been so wrong about what this roster was capable of accomplishing. I think it speaks to the dysfunction that's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the New York Jets. I can't believe I'm saying that because you all know how I feel about that franchise. But right now, things are worse down in Big D.
There is no question that it's worse in Dallas. It's so bad in Dallas, it's hard for me to laugh. And you know how much I love laughing about those Cowboys. It's bad. Jerry Jones, there is no way around it. That's my Libra buddy, you know that. Horrible job. Did nothing this offseason. And when I interviewed them for 1 hour and 15 minutes on my YouTube show, my podcast, I didn't challenge him but so much in terms of what the team was going to do this year because he kept saying, yeah, when I brought up Derrick Henry, when I brought up prioritizing CeeDee Lamb and you're going to give Dak Prescott $60 million and all of this stuff, he was like, there are people you haven't seen. There are people that we should have played last year. They're going to be out there this year. Wait. You'll see. And I'm like, okay. And now we've seen. And they are as soft as cottonelle tissue. It is bad. And so when I look at it, and I look at the pressure cooker that is Dallas, being America's team, and that microscope on you, and I'm looking at a $60 million quarterback, and I'm looking at a wide receiver that's making about $34 million, and I'm looking at them not even being on the same page. Forget about the fact that, you know what, Brandon Cook's been out, even there, he's your number 2. You don't really have anything beyond that. Forget about the fact that you don't even have a running game. You don't even have the necessary chemistry between your top 2 primary paid players, who's a quarterback and a wide receiver. So all Dak Prescott does is say the right things at press conferences, okay? Other than that, he hasn't done much. CeeDee Lamb can't do but so much because he needs Dak Prescott to help him. The offensive line ain't what it used to be. The running game is non-existent. and your defense is soft. You're watching teams run 5, 6, 7, 8 yards before they're even touched. They are laughing. They sat up there and ran plays for offensive linemen to score touchdowns. This is what they're doing. They were toying with the Cowboys and humiliating them on purpose. And Dallas has no pushback whatsoever. This is a football team that doesn't look like a team. They look soft as hell. And when you look at it from that standpoint, I just don't know. No matter what we're saying about the Jets, we didn't say that. And the only thing that I would say, because there is no defense for what Jerry did with that radio host. There is no defense for that. That was bullying, no question about it. But as I pointed out yesterday, you know, I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan. And I've watched James Dolan bully people for years, at least try to. I mean, I'm accustomed to seeing billionaires trying to bully folks. So it's not the end of the world. I think that when we look at Jerry Jones and what we're pointing to, those fans in Dallas Sunday were Lions fans. They were louder than the Cowboys. And his stadium had been taken over by visitors who literally whipped his ass. And I think that that is what is one thing to lose, Jerry finding any excuse whatsoever.
Yeah.
But when you got people rolling up into the billion-dollar playpen, rooting for the opposition, and they're making more noise than the home crowd, it's gotten to another level. It's dissipated to another level of horrific.
Justin Fields is coming off his best offensive performance, you could argue, this entire season. And so, Stephen A., would it be surprising if Mike Tomlin decides to turn to Russell Wilson?
It wouldn't be surprising for me. You know, let me put it to you this way. Let me give you an analogy, okay?
Okay.
So I just turned 57 years old. And I'm in decent shape for 57 years. So I get up off of this chair and I run to the wall. Is that a big deal? I don't think it is. Now, if I went outside and I ran 3 miles, it's a big damn deal. If I ran to the wall right there, what's the big deal? I bring up that analogy because that's how I feel when people talk about Justin Fields. Oh, he's looking better than he's ever looked. Well, how the hell did he look before he got to Pittsburgh? Y'all act like he was looking like Dan Marino or something before he got there. That's not true. He was sacked 99 times over the last 2 years. He was a turnover waiting to happen. He wasn't being developed by Eberflus and those guys in Chicago. It wasn't a good situation. That's why he's gone. So he gets to Pittsburgh, and what does he have? He's got only 2 turnovers in the season, 1 interception, 1 lost fumble. And everybody, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be applauded because he has been solid. He's running the offense. He's making plays with his legs, not just his arms. He's making some good throws. He's not turning the football over, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not like we're looking at Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or somebody playing this damn game. And so if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers and I got a chance and I'm still in the thick of things, and my defense is elite, and I got a guy in Russell Wilson who's a former Super Bowl champion, went to 2 Super Bowls. Last year in Denver, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. We all know that they just didn't want to pay him that money. That's why Sean Payton and them got into it and all of this other stuff. And they wanted him out there. He didn't help himself with the way he carried himself, according to numerous reports. We get that part. But in the end, it's not like we're seeing so much, which is why it's surprising to me that Ben Roethlisberger would say what he said. It's not like we're seeing Ben Roethlisberger in his prime wearing a Steeler uniform out there and you talking about putting in a veteran. What are we talking about? I'm not trying to, you want to keep Justin Fields in there, keep him in there, fellas. But if you take him out to see what Russell Wilson will do in a Steelers uniform with their personnel, to me, it's not the end of the world because I don't think that Justin has shown so much that would make you say what Ben Roethlisberger said.
Well, you're making it. Hello, Jeff. Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you as
Very
well.
good. You coaching still? Or you?
Yeah, I'm about to coach on you right here in just a
North
second.
Carolina might be looking for somebody. Anyway, he's making it seem like that Russell Wilson played like John Elway.
No, I'm not.
Russell Wilson, the last 3 or 4 years is terrible.
I mean, well, he wasn't
Seattle
terrible.
got him out of there. Denver, he was there 2 years. The first year was a disaster. And Peyton, who knows something about quarterbacks,
Right.
jettisoned him out of there for Bo Nix.
Doug,
What,
they
all
didn't
of
say
a
he was
sudden he's going to
terrible.
play like Teddy Battle?
They didn't say he was terrible last year. Seriously.
was okay.
They didn't say he was terrible last
It was
year.
okay.
They said he was vastly improved from the year before.
Well, he was so
That's what
bad
they
he
said.
hit me first.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
right.
5-game win streak last year.
I mean, Steve, you're making making Russell Wilson out to be the
No.
this is not 1976 and Bradshaw against the Rams. For crying out loud.
Right. Well, he was throwing the Swan and Stallworth. Let's not
that's
forget
fair.
that.
And he, I
Had a
get
pretty
it.
decent running back
How about
offensive
that,
line,
Franco
too.
Harris, Rocky Bly, and that offensive line? That's right. There we go.
Pretty good squad. Yeah, pretty good squad.
One of the great teams of
Give
all
it all to
time.
Bradshaw, though. Don't worry about that.
But they were the Steelers are 4-2. Fields played pretty well against the Raiders. They could have beaten Dallas if they had made a stop on the last play of the game. They would have made them 5-1. It's not a sure thing with Wilson. I think you got to leave Fields in there until they lose another game or so, and he plays a real awful stinker game.
Yeah.
He's played fairly well, not great,
Right.
but decent enough. And there's no guarantee that Wilson is going to be that much better. I'd leave well enough alone.
I'm gonna give y'all some inside football knowledge right here. Here's where I'm gonna drop it.
Okay.
What Justin Fields provides to the Steelers, the legs and the explosive plays with his legs, getting outside, off-schedule plays, Russell Wilson can't match. I think what the problem for the Steelers is explosive plays down the field. And so why this even conversation is being had is because there are some throws that are open down the field that Justin Fields isn't attempting. It's not that it's
not
that
seeing.
He's not. Yeah. So whether it's seeing and just not or not being comfortable enough to drive it in and make the play. So I'm assuming because when it's disingenuous when Mike Tomlin's like, well, Justin Fields, it's not about what the guy has done or not done. Because if Justin Fields had balled out, that door would have been closed. We all know that, right?
100%.
So it's a little bit like, okay, it does have a lot to do with what Justin Fields is doing. If Justin Fields can show that he's willing to make those throws and attempt that stuff, because there are some receivers coming open down the field that are just, and it's like Justin Fields falls back to his, I'm going to run and scramble and go convert.
Did the same thing in Chicago.
Yeah, so you have, that has to change. This is what I would say about this game in particular.
Okay.
This would be early, in my opinion. Russell Wilson has missed a lot of practice, y'all. And I know people love to like mock practice and act like because he's a vet, he doesn't need practice. We've seen Aaron Rodgers, who, you're afraid, a bad man. He took a year off. He hasn't looked great. And I know Russell Wilson hasn't taken a year off, but he hasn't practiced in about 30 practices with this group in particular. I would say I would want him to have another week of actually getting in with the ones, seeing what that looks like before you make that change.
I'm not going to refute that.